Everybody got to play. Our European and our Asian brothers and sisters left there voluntarily to come here. So when I say that we started from the bottom, remember, I'm talking about our American experience. Because when you go back to your roots, you didn't start from the bottom. You started in the image of God. You started in the likeness of God. When I say we started from the bottom, I'm talking about when you arrived here to America, we were placed at the bottom of it.
Brothers and sisters, when I consider the celebration of Black history, and I reflect on the accomplishments of our people, I can declare unto you without a shadow of doubt or hesitation the fact that the Lord has brought us a mighty long ways. Again, I say, when you think about our history and when you think about all of our accomplishments, all of us have to acknowledge that the Lord has brought us from a mighty long ways. I believe it was through many dangers, toils, and snares that we have already come. The songwriter declared that it was God's grace that brought us safe thus far. And if we trust him and continue to stand on his word, we can rest assured that his grace will lead us on. Brothers and sisters, by the grace of God, we have been resilient and resourceful even in the midst of pain and persecution. I'm telling you, we are a resilient people. We are a resourceful people. From the majesty of the motherland to the madness and the mayhem of the Middle Passage, the testimony that we all have as people of color in this nation we call America is that we found a way to thrive from the day we arrived. This is a Black History sermon, just in case you didn't know. I said from the moment we arrived on the shores of this nation, we have found a way to thrive since the day we arrived. When you look at this context of this passage, when you look at the words in context, what you find is a group of people who have been delivered from slavery. It's all right if we go to social studies class? I said that this is a group of people who had been delivered from slavery, very similar to my ancestors and your ancestors who endured the most heinous treatment of humanity. What you see is a picture of survival even in the midst of racial discrimination. I need you to know that everything started out good because these were the descendants of Abraham that continued to be blessed through Joseph. I wish I had a Bible reader here. He was the fourth generation. Joseph was the son of Jacob, who was the son of Isaac, who carried the promise of Abraham. Well, by the time you get to Exodus chapter 1, somewhere there about verse number 8, read it when you get home, the Bible says that there arose a new king over Egypt. Don't lose me now. Exodus 1 and 8 says that a new king arose over Egypt, and the difference between this king and the previous king, the Bible says this Pharaoh didn't know Joseph. In other words, he didn't care about no promise. He didn't care about the God of Israel. He was not concerned about no covenant that God made with Abraham. The last king took care of God's people, but this new king wasn't studying nobody named Joseph. So when he rose up in chapter 1 of Exodus, he proceeded to take the lead, but he left out the Lord. Slow down, Pastor. They just woke up at 10 o'clock. I said he took the lead, but he left out the Lord. See, please understand this. One day, And I'm still in Exodus chapter 1, verse number 9. Pharaoh looked around and he said to his people, he said, the children of Israel are more mightier than we. He said they're inventing things, they're creating new ways to better themselves. And the point I got to make to you is that as a people, we were not always on the bottom. That was the shouting point right there. I said, as a people, as a people of African descent, you cannot let the Discovery Channel teach you your history. You ought to crack open a book every now and then. You did not start out swinging from trees. Talk to me here. You didn't start out half naked and can't speak good English. You didn't come from a people that didn't have no sense. No, we were intelligent people. We were creative people. Keep sitting there here. The world would not be what it is had it not been for our contribution. I'm gonna need everybody in here with some color. Even if you're light skinned, you better set something up in here today, because we are the reason why this world is what it is today. Come here. The pyramids, tell your neighbor, that's us. Mathematics, that's us. The horseshoe, the folding bed, the biscuit cutter, the ironing board, the mop, the dustpan, the pressure cooker, the bicycle frame, the blood plasma, the printing press, keep sitting there here, the window cleaner, the pencil sharpener, the elevator, the traffic signal, the hairbrush, the heating furnace, the folding chair, the clothes dryer, the baby carriage, the peanut butter, the collard greens, the pig feet, the hog maws, the oxtails, the chitlins, the syrup sandwiches, the ketchup sandwiches, the sugar water, the typewriter, the cell phone, the helicopter, the roller coaster, the doorknob, the doorstopper. Tell your neighbor, that's us. Even Elmo from Sesame Street, pray for him. That's us. Y'all sit down, ain't fool. We have not always been at the bottom. Hallelujah. Stop letting folk tell you your history. You can go to certain parts of South Africa and you would think you in downtown Atlanta. But the only Africa you see is folks swinging from trees half naked with a bone in their nose. Because that's what the media wants you to see. I believe you would have higher self-esteem if you knew where you came from. You wouldn't have such low self-esteem. You wouldn't be trying to look like other folk. I wish I had some help. You wouldn't be spending money trying to look like somebody. If you really knew what Nefertiti looked like, I wish I had some help in here. If you really knew what Cleopatra looked like, it don't look like Elizabeth Taylor. It looks like a soul sister. So when they found themselves enslaved, it was the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, I'm just about there, who sent Moses to lead them to the promised land. Now, to be fair, in order for us to acknowledge everybody's plight, you got to be fair about this thing. There are some non-Africans who endured some persecution too. Understand, many of our brothers and sisters that left from Europe and left from Asia, they left their various countries because of corrupt governments. They came over here with nothing. They came with the hope of better days. But the difference between the motherland and the other land is that we were taken from our homes and they forced us to sing God Bless America. Everybody got a plight. Our European and our Asian brothers and sisters left there voluntarily to come here. So when I say that we started from the bottom, remember, I'm talking about our American experience. Because when you go back to your roots, you didn't start from the bottom. You started in the image of God. You started in the likeness of God. When I say we started from the bottom, I'm talking about when you arrived here to America, we were placed at the bottom of society. We were counted as less than a human being. But how many of y'all know the same God that did it for Israel, the same God that did it for Moses and God's people, if he did it before, there's an ancestor of yours who can witness that he did it again. It was that same God that delivered us. And so by the time you get to Numbers chapter 12, which is what I've been trying to get to, the Lord had already delivered them from the hand of Pharaoh. Moses had lifted up that rod. You was in Sunday school. You remember how it went. Moses lifted up that rod. God turned that Red Sea into capital circle. The children of Israel was able to walk through on dry ground. My pastor said it was so dry that they didn't even get no mud between their toes. That's just how awesome God is. And he fixed it to where Pharaoh had no choice but to watch his army get swallowed up. All of that happened by the time you get to Numbers chapter 12. But the place where I want to park and preach for a while is at this place we call here. Started from the bottom, now we here. That's what young folk been saying for the last year and a half. Started from the bottom, now we here. And the question I want to ask you is, where are you exactly? Ask the folk on your road, where are you? What have you accomplished? What is it about your surroundings that make you think you've arrived? Started from the bottom, now you where exactly? Is it that you got money now? That's why you think you're here? You can go to any school you want now. They used to didn't let you into Florida State. Now you can go there for them too. Is that why you think you're here? You got voting rights now, so you think that that's where here is? We getting record deals and shoe contracts and we're sports stars now. We got Maybachs and mansions. We got Bentleys and bling. Is that what you think here is? Do you believe that material things somehow translate into the fact that you made it? I submit that we are nowhere close to where we were, but as a people, we are far from where we need to be. Look around at where you are. If you ask me exactly where here is, I would have to be honest and say we are in a place of wandering. Oh, we started from the bottom. The Lord brought us out from the bottom, but yet when I look at where we should be, it appears that like the children of Israel, we still wandering. Oh, I'm still in the Bible, see. The children of Israel had been delivered from Pharaoh, but they had not yet reached the promised land. And the reason that they did not reach it is because they were wandering in the wilderness 40 years. Don't miss what I'm trying to say here, because I hear what some of you are thinking. You're trying to modernize this, and so you think in 2014, and so, well, they didn't have cars, so of course it took 40 years. They had to walk, so of course it took 40 years. Can I tell you that that journey shouldn't have taken more than a week? Geographically, Google map it, it shouldn't have took but a week on foot. And yet it took them 40 years to make a 5-day journey. Why it took so long, Pastor? Bible says the reason it took 40 years is because they grumbled and they complained when they should have trusted God. Hallelujah. They looked around. They were free. And then when they were making their way to the promised land, the place that God put them in the meantime, it didn't look like what they wanted. So they start grumbling. I know these were colored people because they mumble and they grumble and they complain the whole way. It is so strange to me how we say we want better, we say we want good things, we say we want nice things, but we go kicking and screaming. Oh, Lord, how many rehearsals we got to have? And then when you do it, you be about to shout because you know that you did a good job. We grumble, we complain about every little thing, but then, oh, this show is a nice church we got. Oh, I love my church. But some of y'all fuss the whole time. You know I'm right about it. Negroes don't do nothing but fuss the whole way, kicking and screaming. Don't want to do nothing different, don't want to change, don't want to adjust, don't want to make room for nobody else. But then when everything goes well, look what we did. They grumbled and they complained. And they said, Moses, you brought us out here to die? I mean, we could have stayed in Egypt. At least we ate good. You have to read this story on your own. He said, they said, we ate good. Pharaoh wasn't that bad. At least we knew what was going to happen from day to day. Moses, you brought us out here to die. I'm telling you, for those of you that are in leadership, those of you that, have positions on your job out there in the world, or even if you're trying to lead a family, what I'm trying to tell you is that the painful part of leadership is that when you try to bring folk out, you always got some folk that would rather stay bound. You got a vision, you got ideas, you see that things can get better, but you got complacent people around you that would rather just stay where you are. And I know what the history books told you, I know what you see on the BET special, but let me help you understand. Everybody did not support the movement. I ain't talking about white folk, I'm talking about colored folk. Everybody that is your color did not support the movement. Everybody didn't support the abolitionists. Everybody wasn't cheering for Harriet Tubman. No, there were some folks who wanted her to calm down and keep quiet. You ever had some folk around you that would just try to kill your fire, try to kill your spirit? Talking about, no, we don't need to do that. Don't be starting no trouble now. Let's just go ahead and do what the folk tell us to do now. You know them folk ain't gonna like that, what you saying there now. And so they mumbled against the leaders because they didn't want to do no better. God said, how long do I have to put up with this mumbling and complaining? He said, as truly as I live, you tell them folk that none of them are going to see the promised land. I'm going to make them wander around for 40 years. I'm going to make them get lost from here to Walmart, a place that they should be able to find. I'm going to make them get lost. It's going to take them 40 years. And the reason it's going to take 40 years is because 40 years is a generation. He said, I'm going to let a whole generation die so that your children will see it, but you going to miss it. When you complain about what you have, at that point, God says, I'm going to take what you have and give it to somebody else. Y'all are not feeling me here. I know you think we got it good nowadays, but I'm trying to tell you, we have not arrived. Listen, it is true that we started from the bottom in America, but the place that you call here is not where God wants us to be. We shouldn't be wandering around in the same space. What have we been doing since Martin Luther King died? From 68 to 2008, before Obama, what were we doing? Wandering, playing around. If you think those old people died just so you could have some rims, you missed the point. Talk to me here. If you think Sojourner Truth and Fannie Lou Hamer and Harriet Tubman and Madam C.J. Walker, if you think that those women struggled for you to be acting like a housewife of Atlanta and a hip-hop chick, if you think they died for that, sister, you have missed the boat. If you think Medgar Evers was shot down in his front yard in front of his wife and children just for you to have a reality show, so you can have 1 million followers? Where are you going that anybody should follow you? Your ratchet random thoughts. Why should anybody follow you? Where are you going? See how quiet it get right up in there? I ain't scared of none of y'all, so you may as well go ahead and get on board with this, because here is not the place where we ought to want to be. Secretly, good to see you, Curtis. Secretly, here is the place where you still ain't got no rights. I'm finna pull the covers off. Here is the place where injustice is still going on. When you can be killed on the highway just for playing loud music. Where the murder charge is very clear to everybody that got eyes and ears, and you can still get off for that. When you can gun down a boy in his own neighborhood with just Skittles and an iced tea, you want to be here. Here ain't what you want. These laws that protect child murderers, that's happening here. The laws that slowly take away your vote, down here in Florida, in these counties where they know church folk are going to galvanize and go to the polls right after they hear a sermon like this, and they cut out Sunday voting. They know what they're doing. That's happening here. A government that can send you to war and then act like they don't know you when you get back. That's not Vietnam, that's Vietnam. You want to know where here is? Here is the place where girls still struggle to find their worth. Pray with me, church. Here is the place where brothers still struggle to find their identity. Here is the place where they will lift you up if you say you're gay, but shut you down if you say you love God. He brought us out of slavery, and now we're in Sodom and Gomorrah. Tweet that. They wandered around 40 years because they complained about the blessings that God had given them. Brothers and sisters, we don't see how God has blessed us. We don't see how fortunate we are, and we need to take advantage of our opportunities. We forget about those who died for us to be here. How dare you complain when you could be living on the streets? Talk to me here. How dare you have an attitude when somebody out there is worse off than you are? How dare you be ratchet when your grandmama is looking down from heaven right now? How dare you be a thug when your ancestors died for you to be free? How dare you not go to class? How dare you get high and drunk all day? How dare you lay up in the house and not work? How dare you sit back and collect a check? How dare you not read? How dare you not speak good English? How dare you sag your pants? I wish I had some help in here. How dare you show all your goodies? You need to wake up and smell the coffee. Stop wandering and start working. How dare you make children and not take care of them? Somebody ought to help this preacher here. How dare you look like a model and your children look like a mess? How dare you not fix them breakfast? How dare you not clean your house? How dare you cuss your children out like they asked to be here? You gotta give them something better than what you had. Just about there. Give me 5 more minutes. Sit down. Listen. I hope that what happened to Israel don't have to happen to us. In other words, I hope God don't have to kill off a whole generation just so our kids can have the promise. I hope God don't have to cut us off in order to replace us with somebody who's going to be obedient. Because the Lord is seeking a generation that will worship him, not just with our lips, but with our lifestyle. I don't know about y'all, but I want to see the promise that God has for me. Everybody walking around, and you know what? And then this is going to be my last chance to say this here. You got these folk in these housing developments, in these projects, in these impoverished neighborhoods, standing on the corner talking about this my block. Negro, you don't own nothing over there. That's why when they get ready to tear down your little project, they tear it down because you don't own anything. How you gonna be talking about being a boss and you don't own nothing? I tell you if you a boss or not. You a boss if you can put somebody on. You a boss if you can give somebody a job. You a boss if your recommendation has validity. You a boss if your signature has weight. You a boss if you can open doors for somebody. How you gonna be a boss and you don't own nothing? You putting your purses on Facebook talking about I'm boss. Your broke self ain't no boss. You didn't pay your cable bill to get that purse. You a boss because you got a pair of J's on your feet? That's what you think boss is? Boss is the white man that made the deal with Michael Jordan to use his likeness on the sneakers. And even though Michael came out pretty good, boss is the white man that signs his check. I don't want to miss the promised land for being disobedient. I'm not going to be like Moses, because Moses didn't see the promised land either. God let him look over and peer at it, let him look at it, let him glance at it, but he was not able to walk in because he let them folk get him so mad that he struck the rock when God told him to speak to the rock. Y'all ain't finna have me die, get my pressure all up, and kill me from anger issues. No. I'm a roll with whoever is rolling with God. The rest of y'all can stay in the gutter if you want to. If you like it here, if you like where your life is right now, you are welcome to it. But for those of us who want better, tell your neighbor, let's get it. We ready to go in now. To those of y'all that are complacent, then you stay right there and do what you've been doing. But for those of us who want more, for those of us who know this ain't it right here, for those of us that know that there is not where I want to be, slap 3 people and tell them, let's get it. I'm shutting down now. If you want to open your own business, let's get it. If you want your own school, let's get it. If you want to change some laws, let's get it. If you want to create some jobs, if you want to eradicate homelessness, if you want to build up some families, if you want to make the church into a better place, if you want to keep men out of jail, if you want to help these babies read and write, slap 3 people and tell them, let's get it. Yeah, if you want to raise the standards, if you're tired of the status quo, if you're tired of mediocre people, if you're tired of these lame statuses, if you're tired of standing your ground, if you're tired of your brothers dying, if you're tired of your sisters being mistreated, if you're tired of church as usual, if you're tired of Sunday morning Christianity, you ought to find somebody, grab them by the hands, and tell them these words. If you want to get there, you got to leave here. If you want better, you got to do better. We've started from the bottom, but God is not finished. We've started in struggle, but we got the victory because one Friday on a hill called Calvary, Jesus died to bring you up from the bottom. I was in the pit of sin on my way to hell, but he reached way down, picked me up from the bottom. He died for your sin and mine. They put him down in a borrowed tomb. Can y'all tell me what he did? Stayed in the grave all day Friday, all Friday night, all day Saturday, all Saturday night. Y'all all right with me, but